announcement that it has secured $800 million from the World Bank to provide palliative to deserving Nigerians ahead of the removal of petroleum subsidy in June this year. Is government on course over the proposed removal of the fuel subsidy, or should it still stay action? Informed stakeholders will come up with analysis in the course of the program. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has come up with projections at the spring meeting in Washington, D.C., as it also labeled Nigeria's economy as the most stable in Africa. Besides these projections, the IMF has also advised the federal government to increase taxes instead of borrowing. Development experts are equally waiting to give unbiased and detailed analysis. Nigeria has launched organic cashew certification program towards meeting food safety standards and global demand for organic products. That is the focus for this episode of Business 24. I'm Vivian Ezadifu. Our complementary segment talking about export tips and the capital market review are also embedded in the program. NTA News 24 has the sole mandate of bringing news to you anywhere and everywhere.
We set standards based on current broadcast realities while consolidating on a wider reach to variety of audiences.
We go beyond the screaming headlines to verify, interrogate, and accommodate all shades of opinion without prejudice to national interest.
Our well-researched, packaged, and live programs keep you abreast of events, personalities, and current affairs.
The federal government has announced that it has secured $800,000 as palliative to pushing the effect of the removal of fuel subsidy. How are some Nigerians reacting to this? Kunle Adeye is waiting to tell us.
The federal government on the 5th of April 2023, through the Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed, announced that it has secured $800 million to serve as palliatives for Nigerians when the petroleum subsidy is eventually removed. The $800 million is the first tranche of palliatives to be disbursed through cash transfers to about 50 million Nigerians who belong to the most vulnerable category of the society. Is the federal government on course in the quest to remove fuel subsidy?
I'm an advocate of subsidy removal, but advocate of subsidy removal on ground that we start producing the refined petroleum products that we use here. One. Secondly, we create the energy situation where we use less of refined petroleum products and go more on green, solar power. Third, by not just talking about importing refined petroleum products, but producing and manufacturing solar panels and all solar related inputs that doesn't make us need the use of refined petroleum products. Let us have these modular refineries. Let us turn artisanal refineries to our own use. If we want to take the loan, let us take loan for the purpose of building small-scale refineries, small-scale modular refineries, which will redeem the country from importing refined petroleum products.
Crop for subsidy will now be used to tar roads, to do hospitals, to do electricity, especially national grid, that is not helping us to have light, and also for education for the public. Now, once you tar the roads and the roads are good, then price of transportation will come down. Vehicles, will last long, and people can get to their destination in time. So usage of fuel will be less. Then the subsidy removal will bring a lot of money. We must have to go back to the old system where you give loans to students in university and polytechnic at higher institutions. because the common man, the poor man cannot afford it. But the money from subsidy can do that. That way it will relieve parents and all individuals of the expenses. We know that when you remove subsidy, price will surely go up. But when it goes up, what are the benefits that you go to the people? And that's what we take off. And removal of subsidy is a cycle that it must be removed. Why? A situation where over half of budget is spent on subsidy. Then what is left? If you remove money to pay salaries, it shows the country will continue to remain where we are. We need the railways to be done from Lagos up to Kano, from Port Harcourt up to Maiduguri, and then from Lagos up to Calabar and to crisscross. Once you do these railways and you remove subsidy, no problem. But government must assure the people that the money they are getting from the subsidy must be used for the railways. It must be used for that critical effort. That will benefit the common man. Because at the moment, selling fuel at the current price does not help the common man. You may argue that, oh, it means transport. No. Which transport? For instance, a rich man will have about 5 cars in his house. The man has 2 cars. His wife has a car. His children have a car. All of them are buy fuel at this reduced price. Whereas the poor man may not have a car. His wife does not have, his children do not have. So the poor people in the country are subsidizing the rich people.
The federal government equally disclosed it will go beyond cash transfer to cushion the effects the subsidy removal will have on Nigerians.
As citizens, if truly subsidy exists, let us interrogate it from that angle. Because here I am, I've heard from all of them about subsidy. So how the issue of removal is another thing. I've had them, ranges of 400 naira up to 700 naira per liter of petrol if we remove subsidy. If that the case, the incoming government, how is he going to navigate through that? Because it all means we are used to pay 200 naira, the price will also get up to 400 naira. Do the people have the money to pay that surplus? As it rubs up negatively or positively in all sectors of the economy. So if I'm incoming, I cannot just put myself into that ditch. So the decision of the last Federal Executive Council, as far as I'm concerned, is irrelevant because it's not binding on the incoming. If I come in as the president, the 29th of May 2023, and you say I'm going to remove subsidy, I will not buy that idea.
Kunle Adeyeye for Business 24.
Despite uncertainties in the global economy, coupled with inflationary pressure being experienced in the country, the International Monetary Fund has maintained that Nigeria's economy remains the most stable in Africa. It also came up with other projections and economic advice for Nigeria. Let's now listen to Adewale Oyerinde, who is the Director General of the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, NACA. He is also a development expert.
That is good news from their perspective. We wouldn't know the parameters that were used. We wouldn't know the context in which they say we are the most stable country in Africa, whether economically, whether socially. As I said, it depends on the parameter in which those contexts were given. Since we don't have those parameters, and for us to actually test those parameters in the context of the realities on ground, realities as per organized businesses, realities as per the ease of doing business, realities as per the macroeconomic situation that we face. Since we don't have those parameters that were used, we will just say, okay, it's a good news, and we hope it translates to that stability. We hope it translates to something much more fundamental and good for us as Nigerians. So we are not in support of increasing tax. We are in support of strategically widening the tax net, and let's be much more disciplined in the context of fiscal engagement. Those are the directions that we urge government to go, not to even think of increasing tax at this period. It will interest you to know that currently organized businesses pay over 50 taxes, levies, and fees across the 3 tiers of government. There are bills at the National Assembly that has component of employers will pay 1% of profit before tax, 0.5% profit after tax. So many bills, proliferation of bills, requesting these same businesses that are struggling to stay afloat, requesting them to make those contributions. And now we are talking of increasing tax. We should stop these self-inflicted contradictions. In one breath, you want to cause development, you want businesses to grow, you want them to play a critical role in the national development plan, you want them to also create jobs. And in the other breath, you are creating bottlenecks and squeezing many of them out of existence. And the risk for us is this. Foreign direct investment will come to a climb that is friendly, that is tax-friendly. We come to a climb that is stable, as it were. But the moment we continue to increase tax, we are also sending wrong signals to foreign direct investors to go to other clients where they will get good returns for their funds. What we should do is improve on our fiscal discipline. In the first instance, we don't have business growing if we make efficient use of what we have as a country.
NTA News 24 has the sole mandate of bringing news to you anywhere and everywhere.
We set standards based on current broadcast realities while consolidating on a wider reach to variety of audiences.
We go beyond the screaming headlines to verify, interrogate, and accommodate all shades of opinion without prejudice to national interest.
Our well-researched, packaged, and live programs keep you abreast of events, personalities, and current affairs.
Nigeria has launched Organic Cashew Certification Program towards meeting food safety standards and global demand for organic products. Comfort Amadu reports that the 5-year project is targeted at improving the crop quality and efficiency for niche markets and premium pricing.
Nigeria is considered the 4th leading producer of raw cashew nuts in Africa and 5th in non-oil exportable products in 2022, with the exportation 315,677 within the period. To harness and maximize the full economic potential of cashew cultivation and export, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council is enforcing natural cultivation of the nut. The initiative begins with the launch of an organic cashew certification project to develop value chains.
We had Pro Cashew bring in one of the best improved seedlings, grafted seedlings, that, with a gestation period of only 2 years. You see, with that, the project was well conceived. We have the fertilizer, we have the seedlings, and we just have to encourage the farmers to buy off and move on.
People in Nigeria now are ready to spend money in agriculture. Only thing which is required is the will of the government. Government can put a tax on export of raw cashew nut. You can import a tax on it. The tax that you generated, you give it to the processors who are processing cashew. Similarly, you do it for other industries. What will happen? People will feel intensified.
NEPC is achieving the buyer's requirements. In addition to that, our exporter will be selling at a premium, because if the normal cashew kernels sell at $2 a kilo, organic sell at $15 a kilo. So you can imagine that. So that will mean more income, that will mean more demand, and that will mean more market share for Nigerian non-oil exports.
This new normal is in collaboration with NISAT and other key cashew industry players to ensure traceability and procurement of quality seedlings for farmers in the country.
We are also expecting to be able to create some sort of synergy between the input providers, the farmers themselves, the producers, so that even the processors can also begin to work directly with the farmers to process our cashew. And after a while, we are hoping to see that Nigeria is no longer exporting raw cashew nuts out of the country, but exporting cashew kernel.
Where we can begin to have recognition for cashew that is produced here with appropriate traceability systems in place, meeting requirements for production and also meeting the destination markets requirements.
ProCashew project has also provided the enabling environment, to work with, state government, to work with federal government, to work with all the relevant, private sector stakeholders to support them. We are supporting through capacity building, we are supporting through grants, we are supporting through resource mobilization, just to make sure that, we bring Nigeria on the same level as, other countries.
Nigeria is looking to lead the development of cashew value chains, with the nuts gaining global recognition.
The exploits by the Nigerian Export Promotion Council to promote Nigerian products is now trying to make incursion into the largest market in Asia and one of the largest in the world, which is the Chinese market. For intended exporters to take full advantage, these tips from the export zone might be what is needed to keep going.
I provide non-prescriptive, generic solutions as I consider appropriate. And this is generally applicable by whoever is looking to venture into export business, especially around food and food products. The first basic thing to understand is the destination market requirements. Oftentimes people delve into this with heavy blind spot. Oh, bandwagon effect, they're doing it, this is what they're doing, and people embark on that. And basically that's a wrong approach to export market, specifically export market. The first thing is pick a market that you want to supply. Understand what the requirement from that market is. And on the basis of that understanding, you then build your own process of production to align with the requirement. And in aligning with the requirement, you can then at least have some assurance that you are likely to have access to that market. That's one. Two, get exposed to the required standards, because the guidelines for production differ as per commodity or item. So a typical example is, if you pick up mango as a produce, fresh, the standard required for export of mango as fresh produce is quite different from the standard you need to comply with or conform to when it comes to the juice and when it's dried up as well. And these are basic facts of export requirement. The moment you understand the standards, you begin to use these standards to indeed design your production process, from how the floor plan would look like, what competencies your food handlers or indeed the people who you want to employ in that process of production should have, and the system they should run in the process of production. Now, these are captured in generic standards. The first one I would always advise is appraise yourself of the standard called ISO 9001, which is the Quality Management System Standards. It gives you the basic. Every other standard in life is built on ISO 9001. As soon as you have that as a clear understanding, you then, as someone who wants to handle food, go into understanding the ISO 22000 Food Safety Management Standard. This provides you the detail, either as a food handler, farmer, processor, aggregator, you name it, to hospitality, to even the petty food sites, roadside seller. There is a provision in that standard for how you can handle the critical control points that might be hazardous to your consumer. And the moment you do this, you've started, that's the first hurdle. The second hurdle now is to ensure that you can show proof that you are indeed following through on the requirements of the standards. It's not enough for you to just go out there and speak to people and tell them, oh, I am doing it. The international best practice is a third party should come in and assess your process with reference to the provisions of that standard that you claim to be producing by, and do what? Certify you to that. In Nigeria, as we speak, quite a number of people will come around and tell you, oh, I could come and do that assessment for you, I could help you, get certified, without having the accreditation to do that certification. So what am I saying accreditation to do the certification? All certifying bodies that have the wherewithal in terms of validity to provide certification for either products, process, or personnel must be accredited to that standard they claim they are indeed certifying you to. So as an entrepreneur or as an exporter or as a food handler that is intending to do export, I would not blindly study, align my process of production to those international best practices in terms of standards, and then call a certifying body that is not accredited to certify me. That's the biggest error. So the thing is, ensure that whoever you go to meet as a certifying body to provide certification services for your production process, for your personnel's expertise, or indeed the facilities that you use, ensure that certifying body has accreditation to do so, especially as it concerns that specific standard.
That's Business 24 this week. Thanks for watching and see you some other time. I'm Vivian Ezadefi.